Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 38, Shots Fired. So guys, in today's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, of course we're going to be talking about the whole Trump assassination attempt. Now, I've heard every possible theory in the past week, and I think it's actually a good thing that I waited a week to make this video. Even though I actually didn't do that on purpose because I'd actually filmed that video prior to the whole fiasco. But a huge problem that I actually see going on right now is that everyone is rushing to be first as opposed to actually giving it time, waiting for more information to come out, and seeing what the actual after effects are of the situation.
Well, I don't think that thing could have gone any worse.
But of course we're living in a whole social media era where everyone has to be first. Because if you're not first, you're last.
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
Ricky Bobby reference, I'm pretty sure. But I actually don't even really want to talk about that event from a specific detail standpoint. I have an even bigger problem.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're gonna hear about it.
With the way that so many people have been reacting to this event and talking about it, and the way that I see everyone name calling someone who doesn't agree with them on the other side, and why I think that this is actually what the people at the top want. Chaos. So that's going to be the main focus of this episode, but I'm also going to be covering why I'm actually rooting for Bronny James, as well as a flexing conspiracy. Not actually a conspiracy, but a flexing rabbit hole to go down, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, buns and ties.
As well as a 141-year-old woman's advice on how to live a long and healthy life. Without further ado, let's dive right into this episode now.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know that, it must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on this video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to buy my book, Fight Through It by Jared Weiss, on my website, jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. The link will be everywhere, so check that out. I've been getting some really great feedback so far, so I would really appreciate any of your support. So now, of course, we're going to be talking about the biggest event that's happened. It's been all over the news media, all over every single social media post for the past week and a half now, which is the whole Trump assassination attempt. Now, one big issue that I see with the way that so many people have been talking about this is that I see people who I actually like and respect a lot calling everyone who disagrees with them this name or that.
Krabs is
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth?
You're a moron. You're brainwashed. So I want to start there. Has calling someone a sheep or calling them brainwashed or saying you've been played ever made someone actually change their mind? Or on the other hand, do you just want to be right? I mean, are you actually trying to make a positive impact, or are you just trying so hard to prove yourself right? Are you really about unity and uplifting the vibration of our world? Or once again, are you more concerned with proving yourself right and being more righteous than the other person?
But I'm better than you.
Because as I've spoken about in the past, if you really care about someone, and if you really want to educate them, and if you're really about making a positive change in their lives, you're going to model that change. You're going to be the better person. You're going to show them how living your way, thinking critically, questioning things, has made you a better person. Not someone who's engaging in all these antics and name-calling.
You suck.
And I'm saying this with love to the people who I actually do respect and like a lot. I don't like seeing how our side, quote-unquote, has turned into the exact people who we've spoken about against for the past few years. I don't mean that with any hate. I get why you're saying these things. I get why you're frustrated that this person can't see the same exact things that you see so clearly, but we need more compassion. As a quote that I shared a few weeks ago goes, I don't have all the answers and I don't have the answer, but what I do realize is that without compassion, we're not going to survive and we're not going to make it as a culture, as a society.
You know, we're living in a society.
We used to be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes, be kind, respectful, and genuinely help others. But that doesn't mean that everyone's going to see things the exact way we do also. If we're ever going to have a truly healthy world and a healthy society, this actually means allowing for difference of thoughts and opinions. This also means that multiple things can be true at the same time. All that being said, me personally, I think that this actually was a legit assassination attempt. And I know that everyone in the truther world is going to say to me, how do you not think this is staged? You're a sheep, you're a moron. But I've been going back and forth on this in my mind. I've seen every theory out there. But just because all the facts don't add up, doesn't mean that every event is automatically staged. I do think it was a setup rather than an actual staging. And I do also think this this was an inside job. But now I also agree that a lot of things don't add up.
It just don't add up!
And as always, the official narrative doesn't add up. But once again, that can mean many different things. And I'm all for questioning everything, as I always say. But I disagree with the people who rush immediately to this is staged before anything else comes out, just because everything is staged. And I'm open to being proven wrong and thinking like this is a legit attempt. But that's not even what I'm focusing on in this episode and in this conversation. I'm going to focus more on bringing an actual unifying message and allowing for different thoughts and allowing for everyone to ask questions. Everyone to ask questions. It doesn't mean only certain people get to ask this question or that question. It means that if we're actually going to invite people to be true free thinkers, it doesn't mean that only one narrative gets pushed. I mean, how is it any different from the people who immediately rush to accept the mainstream narrative? How is that any different from the people who immediately rush to say everything is staged without seeing any evidence on either side? And truthfully, we're probably never going to know what actually happened 100%. I feel that with a lot of these events, unfortunately, we're never going to know what truly happened for 100% certainty. But why is it that so few people have the humility to actually say that?
I don't know.
It's okay to not know everything. It's okay to say, here's what I think, but I'm not sure. And just because that person believes something different from me, doesn't mean that like that person is so wrong that person can't think for themselves because they don't see things the exact way I do. And as far as I see it, what do they really want? People in power, the parasite class, the ruling class, old guard, whatever you want to call them? I think they actually want exactly what's happening right now. The people on the right saying the people on the left are morons. People on the left saying people on the right are morons. Truthers calling everyone morons and everyone's brainwashed. They love this division. They love how everyone is at everyone else's throats. And all I'm here to say is that if we don't have compassion for other people, we're never going to survive and we're never going to thrive as a culture. And as humans, we have to stop the name calling, stop seeing our neighbor as the enemy, stop seeing others as different.
They judge me before they even know me.
And once again, I want to reiterate, has anyone ever woken up after you called them a moron or called them a mind-controlled slave? And I understand the temptation to do that sometimes, but it's like, how is calling me, someone who actually is questioning everything and thinks for myself, who believes that like maybe this was like a legit assassination attempt, but yet anyone who says that seems to be being called by truthers to be morons and being called mind-controlled slaves. So does that make me a mind-controlled slave? We do have to ask every question, but we also have to allow people to come to different conclusions. Just because someone sees something differently doesn't automatically make them controlled, doesn't automatically make them working for the government.
They? The government?
Or make them control opposition. That's like one of the issues I see with the whole truther community. And look, I'm all for being skeptical of everyone, but like just because your neighbor sees something differently from you doesn't mean that like they're working for the government. And to further this point, I saw a post the other day from someone who was saying that if you still watch any Hollywood movies, or if you still listen to music, or if you watch pro sports, you're a mind-controlled slave.
What an idiot!
Now, if you ask me, I think that if that's the premise that like you're operating off of, your life isn't going to be too great. And look, I'm all for, if you're someone who's able to live off the grid and live a happy, healthy life, all the power to you, kudos. But just because I still like watching pro sports, even though I question whether certain results might be rigged, and just because I still listen to music or enjoy some of these Hollywood movies, I think it's possible to be in the world without being of the world. Not every situation is black and white. Not everything means that like this person watching this thing is all bad or all good. We need to allow for more nuance. And also, everyone uses things for different purposes. So, I'm an athlete. I love playing sports. So I'm also gonna enjoy watching sports and enjoy watching top athletes competing. I still find certain Hollywood movies to be funny and enjoyable. It's just about coming at it with different intentions. But like, I think it's very dangerous when you get into calling everyone who still participates in this cultural event a mind-controlled slave. Especially if you're not coming out with any solutions that are more enjoyable than that. It's one thing to listen to music, and it's one thing to watch Hollywood movies, but it's another thing to actually act out on those agendas. I mean, if I listen to Eminem, the Eminem show, when I'm working out or having fun with friends, that doesn't make me a mind-controlled slave. Now, on the other hand, if I listen to that without understanding the darkness behind certain songs, or I actually act out all those low vibrational agendas, then yes, then you can call me a mind-controlled slave. But there's a difference between being in the world versus being of the world. There's a difference between watching pro sports versus idolizing the athletes and bowing down to every move they make. Johnny, you're my hero! there's a difference between laughing at a good Hollywood movie versus idolizing the actors. And this also leads me to a conversation I actually had in the sauna the other day.
It's like a sauna in here.
This was actually the day of the whole Trump shooting, and me, who's a free thinker, someone who questions everything to the fullest, I was having a conversation with two other people who are very nice, awesome people, might not be on my level of questioning, but like that's totally fine. They were still great people who do question a lot of things actually, but they may be more into politics as opposed to me who questions the legitimacy of all the politicians and whatnot. But hey, I'm all for meeting people where they're at. I don't like this whole idea of putting myself on a pedestal and seeing that all these people are below me because they're not thinking the exact same things that I do. Which leads me into this conversation I had. This one woman who was sitting a few spaces over from me starts interjecting into the conversation, and she starts saying how she's not for the right or the left, she's an independent because she thinks both sides are essentially a uniparty and are essentially doing the same thing, which I actually largely agree with actually. But the way that she was saying it was so off-putting and made me not want to listen to her.
And there's Sally Weaver the woman, Sally Weaver the artist, Sally Weaver the person.
No, you gotta shut up.
Because she was coming across as this toxic person. She starts saying like, oh, I'm all for love and kindness, which I'm all for as well. But then she keeps saying why these two guys who I was talking to are so wrong. And then like every time like I tried to say something, or every time one of the other people who was with me tried to say something, she kept interrupting them. And she kept saying, I'm all for love and kindness, which to me essentially came across as, I'm better than you. You guys can't think for yourselves. And so it's my job to enlighten you because I'm above you. And every time any of us tried to make a point, even if it was a point that was like in agreement with her, she kept saying, I'm all for love and kindness. And I don't agree with any of this. The whole thing is staged. And how do you guys not see this? How do these people not see this? How are you all so brainwashed? So it's like, if she was really for love and kindness, she would actually be modeling that change. And she would actually be having a legitimate conversation rather than putting yourself above everyone and interrupting us every time any of us tries to make a point, which brings me back to how all of us need more compassion. More compassion, less division, less hatred for the other, less seeing the other as your enemy because they don't see things the exact way you do. And this leads me into my next topic, which isn't necessarily a conspiracy, but like actually more of just like a current event and a fun topic I wanted to talk about. Because what I've realized on this channel is that not everything has to be a conspiracy, but rabbit holes could just be giving people something to think about, giving them a different perspective, and helping you guys to get through whatever might be going on in the world in a better, healthier way. And as I've been saying, I've been trying to find more positive rabbit holes rather than constantly over-focusing on the darkness. And when I do talk about the darkness, I do so to bring light to the situation and to try to extract whatever good I could from there. Because I think that's actually what we need more of in the world right now. So now, heading into the sports world, what's been a hot topic the past few weeks? Bronny James, of course. Bronny James got drafted 55th overall, largely due to the help of his dad, LeBron James.
LeBron James!
The best player in the NBA.
There's Arroyo in front. And follows on a bounce to James. If you miss.
Now, having said that, I actually think Bronny James is actually capable of being a really good player.
What?
That's just me. That's what I've seen. I think he has a lot of the intangibles that it takes to be a good player. But regardless of that, I've seen so many people rooting against Bronny James, hoping that he fails. Now here's what I'm going to say. Rooting against someone who you don't know, rooting for someone to fail, does not uplift you and doesn't make you any better. Now of course, I don't know Bronny James personally, I don't idolize any celebrities, but I am rooting for Bronny James to succeed, because I love the underdog stories, and regardless of whether or not he's an underdog, I know, but like, because I see so many people hating on this kid, rooting against him, when I don't think he's done anything wrong, as far as I see it. I mean, he seems to be quiet, he seems to be a hard worker, and he's just a kid who's following his dream and following his passion. And of course, this isn't referring to any of the dark stuff that he or his family may have done, but from a purely basketball standpoint, and from a purely following your dream standpoint, I don't see any reason to hate on this kid and to root against him. I think, above all, the energy that you put out into the world is going to be the energy that you get back in return. So, if you're hating on this kid, if you're rooting for him to fail, then ultimately, in a lot of ways, you're actually rooting against yourself.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Whereas on the other hand, if you're rooting for this kid to succeed, if you're rooting for him to be great, if you're rooting for others' happiness, if you're supporting your friends, supporting family members, supporting random people who you don't know, but like who you see working hard, then that energy is going to come back to you in positive ways more than you even know. I fully believe that. And hey, what happened the other night? Bronny James had a great game. He had 12 points.
They think that he can be a contributor with the big team.
Larry Nance Jr. with the pass. Bronny.
Second time these two have connected for a Nance three.
He's got 16 points a game, 10 of them coming here in the fourth quarter. Bronny.
In spite of the fact that all these other people, whether it be Jaylen Brown or any people on TV, have been saying that Bronny James isn't a pro, but like, look, he proved them wrong. Now, I don't know how his career is going to turn out, but like, I just want to say that rooting against people who you don't know, not cool.
You gotta stop doing that.
And it doesn't help you out and doesn't make you any better. Rooting for their success, putting out good energy into the world, supporting people who are trying their hardest to follow their dreams and follow their passions, that energy will come back to you. I mean, a few days ago, me and my best friend James and Ethan, which you guys are going to see on the Jared and James channel soon, we're playing pickleball. And at the courts, we actually saw 2 kids and their mom selling lemonade. And me and James immediately thought to ourselves how great it would be to support these kids. These kids are ambitious, they're entrepreneurial, they're working hard. So we went up to them, we bought some lemonade from them, and it felt so good. Not because of, oh, this is going to make a great photo op or whatever, but like, because we're helping people and we're rooting for people who are putting their best foot forward. And as James said to me on that day, that positive energy will come back to us. That positive thing that we did will come back around. And now I have 2 more videos I'm going to share for this episode. First off, we have a interesting take on flexing, which actually relates to me in a lot of ways. But hey, this is actually a very powerful health tip and an interesting one for people who are like me.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. I look fit. Oh, you know, I've been just working out. So, this is what people do all the time. They tense up so this way they can look fitter. But that's not what you actually want to do. Instead, you want to relax your body because it's healthier for you. Do you know that when you tense up your body so you can look slimmer and look like you've been exercising a lot, it's actually terrible because it causes you to become more stressed. It causes more frustration. It causes fear, worry, anxiety, guilt, and all of those things because when we have those type of negative emotions, our body naturally tenses up. And your body doesn't know the difference between I'm trying to look good and fit to I'm having an emotional response. It's all the same for your body. The moment you start to tense up, your body restricts in energy. Not only do you have lower energy and lower circulation, but your body goes, oh, I'm having an emotional response. Let me fire off those familiar negative emotions. So relax your body and only tense up if you absolutely need it. Try it out.
So if I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, been there, done that. I have been someone who flexes up often in order to look good and to look stronger. But after seeing this, I might have to change my thoughts around that because sitting in a more relaxed state is better for your health. It allows you to think more clearly. It doesn't put you in this fear response or fight or flight. So for any of my fellow fitness people, walking around flexing all the time may make you look better, but like it may not make you healthier, unfortunately. It's going to be a tough one for me to change. That's why it's always more important to do what's right for you rather than to do things based on others' opinions of you. But hey, we'll see how many of us actually follow through with that. And now for the final clip of this episode, I'm going to be sharing a video about a 141-year-old woman and how she got that way.
How long have you been a herbalist?
From 1977. And my age is 141 years old now.
You are 141 years old?
Right now.
So is your medicine make you live so long?
I mean, I have no sugar. I mean, I have no pressure. I mean, I have no heart attack. I mean, I have no pain. Yeah, you know, my farm, I do everything said.
How long did it take you to perfect your formula?
Well, I work with the moon, and the moon is just give you like when the moon is kind of full, and the new moon, you try to prepare your herbs, and before the moon full, then you will boil your herbs. So I just soak my herbs, and after soaking them, then I throw them off, and prepare them, put them into the bottle, and so forth. So I work with humanity. I'm a healer through the power of the Most High. So I heal through the herbs and water. So no matter what the problem you have, there's something in the herbs for you. Because the Most High said, every leaves of the tree are healing up a nation. So then we must attune ourselves to the herbs. Yeah? And the herb will heal us.
So there's a lot of really powerful points here. First off, why have we been told that like the oldest person to ever live is 122 years old? When meanwhile, I mean, hey, I've never met her, I can't verify this, but like she claims to be 141. I've also seen stories of people who lives to be 250 in China. And of course, we also have the biblical times when people used to be, I think, 900 to like 1,000 years old. But then after the whole forbidden fruit, and there may have been like one more event, but like after the whole Noah's Ark and the forbidden fruit, our lifespans were cut short and shifted down to like, I think 150 or 120 or less. But hey, regardless of the age, she talks about a lot of powerful things. She talks about using herbs, living in harmony with nature, living in harmony with the moon cycles, trusting the Most High, having this faith in something greater than yourself. She talks about having all this healthy organic food. And so I think there's a lot to be learned from this, that once again, I can't verify how old she is.
She's an old lady. I mean, look at her. She's old. Too old.
But like, for someone to be as old as she is and still have smooth, clear skin, still be working on a farm, still be active every day, and yet, what do we have here in the United States and around the world these days? What do we often get told happens to us as we age? Everything has to get worse, everything has to decline, we can't move as well. But I think that if we take care of ourselves, and if we live in harmony with nature, I think a lot of that doesn't have to happen that way, and I think we can still thrive as we get older. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this video. Make sure to follow me on every platform. Make sure to buy the book if you haven't done so already. I will catch you guys in the next video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to drop a like, leave a comment. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.